Hi everyone, today let's take a closer look at AMD. Do me a quick favor and like and subscribe and watch the video till the end to help out the channel, and let's get started. So AMD has actually had a pretty massive run, but it's been on a bit of a downtrend, and here we have analysts saying that it could go up another 25% from current levels. That puts the price target up around $200, and you can see the chart here. It's had a massive run. We're up around 130% since the lows of October, so it's been massive. You can see current stock price 163, so if we did get a move back to 200, that would be a decent move. You can see the 52-week range is 81 all the way to 227, so a lot of volatility, and 200 is not even the most recent high, so we're just trying to get back some of the gains according to this analyst. And you can see AI has been a big driver of AMD stock. AMD is kind of second place to NVIDIA. Everyone is technically second place to NVIDIA when it comes to AI chips, but NVIDIA is starting to struggle with demand. They are not able to produce chips fast enough. They're sold out through next year already, and AMD is starting to exploit that gap. Intel is struggling to catch up when it comes to chip manufacture, so really you have AMD as the only place you can go, at least in the short term, to get those chips. And based on that demand, they mention here AMD seems like they can grow revenue 10% year over year, based on that surging demand. So moving over to the charts, starting off with the weekly here, you can see that same move. October of 22, we hit some lows around $55, rallied all the way up to $225, so it's been a massive run. We're definitely seeing some pullbacks though. We topped out at 227.30, current stock price 163, so there's definitely a little bit of a move down, clearly extended on that move. You can see the overbought reading was at 82. And then looking at momentum, you can see this is definitely bearish territory on a weekly chart. We've broken many levels here. We're also below the 21-week EMA, and then the 55 is all the way down at 129. I don't really think we're going to hit that low. Certainly possible though. You can see the high here from May. That would be right in that same region, 138.94, in that same zone. It's not impossible, but it doesn't seem likely that we're going to pull back that much. Not without a structural change in markets. You can see we had the dip low here from November of 21. That was the previous all-time high for markets into that October of 22 level, and then we had the run from there. So it's certainly possible. Like I said, went from 163 ish. We're pretty much right at that same level. Makes sense why we're finding a little bit of support there. You can see important level there. And then we fell from that level all the way to the 50s. So it's not impossible that we see a little bit more pullbacks here. Critical zone, like I said, 157. That is that previous high. Looking at that medium term, again, definitely a downtrend. 9, 21, and 55 EMAs all stacked in order. Got the 144 sitting down at 145.30. Momentum bearish. It is starting to find a little bit of strength slowly. Doesn't mean that this can't continue to drift lower here though. Important level right there. And then you got the 200 sitting all the way down at 135.40. So this probably does have a little bit more downside unless we see consolidation right here at that critical zone. And then looking at that 4-hour chart, you can see this most recent dip. It's really done it fairly quickly. This high was just back here on 8 March, and now we're all the way here on 15 April, and it's starting to find a little bit of a base in that zone. It's above the 9 EMA, doesn't mean a whole lot. Everything is still stacked in order, 921, 55, 144. The 200 is kind of in between there, but definitely not great. Let's see if we can find anything on the volume profile. So if this zone right here doesn't hold, your next zone would be that 139.40 area. Might find a little bit of support 148, but probably not. 138 seems like a better zone. And then short-term momentum, slightly bullish. RSI, slightly bullish. It's below the 50 line, but above the SMA. So it's starting to find a little bit of strength, kind of like it did here. Doesn't mean that it's going to make a higher high. Could just find resistance and then end up making some lower lows into that 138 area. Moving over to the Tasty charts, again, you can see that same structure, big wick high. We've pulled back to the middle of the range, and we are right there right now. I wanted to highlight the ATR stops here. ATR stop for the weekly chart is 134.25. So as long as that level holds, and you can see that's right in that same high zone from May, as long as that holds on the weekly chart, you're still in good shape. That does give you a lot of downside potential, about $30 more or so. So keep in mind, might not be worth holding that move, might be looking for a buying opportunity in that zone. But right now, still an uptrend on the weekly chart. And then if we do pull back to that lower ATR, that would be all the way down at 115. Certainly could drift higher as markets kind of pull back in time, but right now momentum bearish on the volume weighted MACD. And then moving to that daily chart, you can see that pullback. We haven't quite hit that lower ATR. It's sitting right in that 144 EMA. On the daily chart for this one, that's at 153.45. And that's part of why it's important to look at several different charts, several different timelines. And then you can see we are in bearish conditions here on the daily chart, lower ATR ATR right in that same zone as the 144. So maybe that's a better zone. 153.50 is an important area for that to hold. Right now we have been hanging right on top of that 8 EMA to the downside. So that puts your resistance at 166.12. So short-term downtrend, waiting for these conditions to change. And then zooming into that 4-hour chart, you can see we've basically been grinding along that lower ATR. We did it here, found a pullback in time, hit those longer-term EMAs as resistance, bottomed out again, and then we've been downtrending since then. So still very much a downtrend. 21 EMA on the 4-hour sitting at 164.50 as resistance. Then you got that ATR stop up at 170.75. So makes sense. That's kind of the trading range right now, 153.50 up to 170.75. And moving over here to the options chain, you can see you can get down into that 157, 155 area with options, get about $1 to do that over the next couple days. Does seem like there's still quite a bit of volatility. IB rank here up at 75, so definitely pretty high, definitely some rich premiums in here in AMD. If you wanted to get a little bit lower over the next 7 days, you could be looking to get into the stock around 152 for $1. So effectively at that 151.30 area, that's an 80% chance of profit. Does look good. If you try to go out any further than that, understand that they do have earnings here after hours on the 30th. And then if you go to the next expiration after that, you can get all the way down into the 140s. Earnings does carry a lot of volatility. You can see it in here. IV index here at 60% for after hours. Expected move $15. So you can see that move here indicated by this kind of amber band all the way down into that 148 area from current price. And then you can see you can still get $1 credit over the next 16 days to get the stock around 140. So that would be very close to where you would expect the stock to bottom, but then you never know exactly what's going to come out with the earnings and then future guide. So understand if you are getting into these options that you should be willing to purchase the stock, especially if you're going to go over the earnings time frame. Otherwise, I would stick to these shorter time frames. Try to catch between 50 cents and $1 over the next couple days, and then do that on a weekly basis, being very conscious of that earnings announcement. And then if we do get a swing up to that 200 level, then you're probably in good shape. Let me know down in the comment section what you think of AMD. Is it a good investment? And is this short-term downtrend going to stall out around that 150 area? Or do you think we're going to dip lower and we should be more patient? Otherwise, like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video, and make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.